It was raining that day. Then I saw a girl on the road asking for a ride. I stopped and asked her, "Where do you want to go?" Come in. I will take you wherever you want to go. What is your name?
Aiko.
My name is Yakaru. So where are you coming from now, Aiko?
I'm coming from home, and I want you to take me to the nearest hotel.
Okay. What kind of hotel? Do you want a luxury one? As I see, you look like this kind of rich person. I'm assuming you had a car and it broke down on the road.
No, I just walked all the way from home. And also, could you please take me to an economy hotel? Because you will pay for me? I don't have money.
And how many days will you stay in the hotel?
I don't know. Until I find a job. Maybe for 2 weeks?
I don't think I have enough money. But I have a better solution.
Okay, what is it?
I will tell you after 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I arrived at my home. So as you see, this is my home. You can take a room until you find a job. That will also save my money.
I don't know what to tell you! Thank you! I appreciate your help and I will pay you for all the cost when I find a job.
It's okay, don't worry about this. I made some hot soup for me and her. She looked very hungry and tired. So, if you want, we can play a game to make us talk about ourselves in an easy way. Are you interested?
Yes, sure. Explain the game to me.
Okay, I will guess something about you, and if it's right, I'll have a point. And you will also guess something about me. And if it's right, you will have a point.
Good. Looks funny game.
So let me start first. You are a rich girl and have emotional problems with your lover.
Right. I mean, the first part is right, but the second part is wrong.
Okay. So no points in this case for me.
Yes. So, my question is, you are an engineer, right?
No, wrong. I'm working as a math teacher in a school. But yes, I want to be an engineer, but unfortunately, I couldn't.
You always have the chance to do whatever you want.
I think Destiny had another opinion. You don't have a boyfriend, but your startup failed, or something like that.
No, I don't have a startup. I don't have money to stay at a hotel, as you see. I'm a homeless girl now.
Huh? So what happened to you?
Oh, that's not how the game goes. You have to guess. You live alone, and you don't have a girlfriend also, right?
Yes, right. I was living with my mom. She was the whole world to me. And she passed away 2 years ago. That's when I fell into depression for a while. Then, I decided to only focus on my job, and also to try to learn new skills besides my job and increase my income. At this time, I saw her fall asleep on the couch while I was talking. Oh my god, she looks like an angel. She's very pretty and looks very innocent. I brought her a blanket and covered her. I stayed all night thinking about her. The next day, I woke up smelling a good food. I thought I was dreaming about my mom while I'm sleeping, but I found Aiko made delicious breakfast for me. I took it quickly and went in my work. I asked my manager to find any job for Aiko in the school. What can she do? Is she a math teacher as good as you? I don't know what she can do. I will ask her, sir, and let you know as soon as possible. Good. We need talented teachers like you, Yakaru. I went back home to find Aiko drawing an amazing picture. Yes, that's it. I found it.
What?
I found a suitable job for you. You will apply for a job as a drawing teacher with this amazing talent you have in drawing.
Oh, really? I love that. Thank you, Yakaru, for all that you did for me.
She hugged me, and I felt like I was flying. After a week, she started working at the school. She turned out to be very beautiful with the same killer smile. We started hanging out with each other. She's still the same girl, simple, modest, with mature thinking. But I kept my distance because honestly, I didn't think I deserved her.
So, this is my first salary!
Yes, you did it!
I want you to know this. I will pay you all the money you spent on me, and also, I will find a new place to stay.
Huh? No, you won't pay me anything or leave me.
What?
Yes, because I love you, Aiko. I can't live without you anymore.
Huh? Really? I'm very happy to hear that. I love you too, Yakiru. And I thank the destiny that made me meet you.
She smiled and hugged me. I was carrying my proposal ring in my pocket. While I was doing the wedding proposal on my knees, a van stopped behind her, and 3 guys came out of it, and 2 of them carried her to the car. And the 3rd one hit me on my head when I tried to stop them from kidnapping her. After waking up from fainting, I went to the police station. I gave the officers the name of the girl and told them what happened. They told me that she is the daughter of a known rich man, and he was looking for her since her absence. I took her address and went to her home. When I arrived at the location, I found a huge mansion. I entered and found her sitting on the couch, crying. Before I could start talking to her, an old man came down the stairs and asked me, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Before I could speak, he continued talking. I think that you are the poor man who tricked my rich daughter with love." "I didn't trick Aiko. I really love her." "Listen, fool. To marry a rich girl is like taking a ride on a roller coaster, which will give you the mixed emotions of joy, fear, happiness, and sadness. It will not give you stability, as the girl knows it's her money that's enjoyed by you, as you only have one identity, that you got married to a rich girl. She may disrespect you or neglect you, so it's up to you if that's what you're looking for. A rich soul and heart, or a luxury life with no love or respect." "I don't care about her money. I didn't even know she was rich. I cared about her happiness and her innocent soul. Compared to people like you, you only care about one thing, money. Not your daughter, not if she's happy or sad, not that she wanted to marry this guy. You just care about yourself and your money. You truly are selfish." At this moment, another old man entered the mansion with police officers and said, "I will not marry your daughter who doesn't love me as you said. And here she is escaping from you, so I will put you in prison until you bring back my money." Then the officers took her father.
That's what I didn't tell Yakiru. My father wants to use me for his business and wants to marry that rich man, which lent my dad a lot of money. But I love you, Yakiru, and I want to marry you.
I hugged her. "Don't worry, Aiko. Everything is okay now. We can go back to our home and start a happy new life. I love you, Aiko."
Hi, my name is Allison, and I've just enjoyed the most exciting days of my life. I'm just 16, so I know that's not saying much, but still. So my mom and dad went on a trip, and they decided I should stay at my grandmother's place. Not too exciting, right? Bet you might be wondering what might be so great about that. Well, the thing is, I've been keeping a secret from most of my family for years. You see, I have been in love with the same guy for years. He's around my age, so cute and smart. He's also really caring, and I melt for him every single time we see each other. The only problem with the man of my dreams? Well, he's my cousin. Yeah, that's why I have to keep it a secret from my family. That, and because I wasn't exactly sure what he felt for me. Perhaps he just liked me as his cousin and nothing else. And if I told him about my feelings, then I would mess everything up. I had no idea how to tell him I was madly in love with him. I mean, imagine how shocking it would be for him if he didn't like me that way, right? Still, whenever he was around, I was so happy. He made me laugh every single time we met, and we had the same tastes in music, movies, and even books. He was also so handsome. It was insane. His name's Lance, and surprisingly enough, he's never really had a girlfriend. Sure, he's dated a few, but nothing serious. No one in the family knows why. Well, at least not until yesterday. Now I finally discovered exactly what kept him from going steady with any girl in his class. Anyway, this started about 3 days ago. I was watching TV at my grandmother's place while she went out to do some shopping. I didn't feel like going out, so she just let me stay there. That was when Lance dropped by. I couldn't believe my luck. I mean, I usually was surrounded by family members whenever Lance came around, and now I had the perfect chance to be alone with him. It was amazing, and I think he noticed me blushing, because after we said hello and I let him inside, he looked at me suspiciously. "Were you running or something?" "Running? No, why? I was just watching TV," I replied, confused about his question. "Well, you're blushed. Don't tell me you brought a guy to grandmother's house." He teased me, making me blush even further. "What? No, I'm all alone, you silly goose." I giggled, slapping his arm. Okay. Do you mind if I stick around for a while? I was bored and Mom sent me to visit Grandma. It's cool you're here too, so we can watch a movie or play video games," he said. We sat together on the sofa, and oh God, he was so close to me. I was sure he was about to kiss me. Lance leaned in, staring straight at my face, and I held my breath. However, it turned out he was only staring at my cheek because I had an eyelash there. God, I've never been so disappointed before. We began playing silly little video games. I would have done just about anything to get him to stick around. After a while, I asked him if he wanted something to drink, and went into the kitchen to fetch 2 glasses of water. That was when I had another idea. When I returned to the living room, I pretended to trip and dropped some water on my white t-shirt. Perhaps then he'd check me out and we'd have a moment. Perhaps then I could tell him how I felt. "Oh no, how clumsy," I said, and looked up at him, hoping he'd be staring my way. Instead, he just laughed and agreed with me. "Yeah, so clumsy. Go change, I'll wait," he replied without paying me much attention. I was so frustrated. All through the afternoon, I tried different ways to get him to look at me as something other than a cousin. When I changed my clothes, I put on a tight-fitting dress. I've been told I'm really pretty, so that could have worked, but it didn't. I hugged him, telling him how much I had missed being around him lately, and made sure to be super close to him. But still, nothing. I was so frustrated, believe me. I even pretended to trip again when he stood up to grab something to eat, and he caught me in his arms like a real gentleman. We were so close. Lance could have pulled me in and kissed me, but instead, he just helped me back on my foot and walked into the kitchen. I needed to find some way of getting him to notice me, but it was running out of time. Soon my grandmother would be back, and then I'd have to behave myself. He wouldn't be able to kiss me either, not in front of her. So I needed to buy some time and make sure he would stick around. Suddenly, I had this crazy idea. Lance was really into challenges, and that could be a great way of not only getting him to stay, but also being completely alone with him. "Hey Lance, I have a challenge for you. How long can you stay in my room without getting caught?" He laughed and looked at me like I was crazy. "Seriously? I can stay there at least a week and Grandma will never know," he replied, laughing, and I shrugged, pretending I didn't believe it. "Well, prove it," I retorted. That was when he rushed upstairs, and in good time, too, because our grandmother arrived only 10 minutes later. That night, I gave him a few blankets and pillows to throw on the floor so he could sleep comfortably. We watched a movie, sitting together, and I rested my head on his shoulder, hoping that having me that close late at night would finally lead him to kiss me. But nothing. He just fell asleep. I was so frustrated. The following day, I kept on challenging him to do other stuff, just to keep him around and try to attract him to me. Like if he could stare at me without blinking longer than I could, or catch me, then running away. Nothing worked. He simply didn't seem interested. So perhaps it was not meant to be, I thought, feeling sad. I decided to finally give up. I didn't want to bug my cousin or make him feel awkward, you know? I was going to tell him to go back home the following morning, since it wasn't fair he would continue to sleep on the floor just for a silly challenge I only came up with to trick him into spending time with me. However, When I came upstairs, I saw him sitting on my bed. Lance seemed completely lost in his thoughts just before I spoke. "Is everything okay?" I asked, and he nodded, asking me to sit next to him. "These past 2 days have been amazing, Allison," he told me, holding my hand tenderly. "Look, I have to tell you something, and I don't want you to freak out. If you don't feel the same way, I'll never ever mention it again." I held my breath. Was this really going to happen? "Yes?" I asked, and blushed even further. "The only reason I accepted this silly challenge was to be around you alone. I like you. I think you're the prettiest girl in the world." He looked at me with clear concern, like he was worried I would scream at him or freak out. Instead, I smiled brightly, and I swear I've never felt happier. "Oh, Lance, I've been waiting so long to hear you say that," I squealed, and his smile was so bright, so sweet. "Can I kiss you?" he asked, and I nodded immediately. Finally, we shared our first kiss, and it was every bit as incredible as I had thought it would be. That night, we talked for hours, finally being able to admit our feelings for each other. It turned out he's been into me for years. We both liked each other, but neither of us dared say anything about it. "You're such a good kisser," I told him, unable to stop smiling. He kissed me all over again, and I melted in his arms. So now we're dating, and we don't know how to tell our family. I need your advice. I want to keep seeing him, but I don't want to upset my mom and dad. What would you do in my place?
Hi there, my name is Yua. I've been a shy girl. I barely muster up words at school due to my shyness and often sat alone too. Then one day, Akira came up during recess to me. He's the class bully and always either got into fights and such. Most students tried to stay away from him because his parents are rumored to be drunks that always got into fights. And therefore, he's a cursed child.
What are you reading there, nerd?
Princess?
Speak louder.
What? Fairy tale?
Leave her alone, Akira.
This is Haru, my best friend.
I mean it, Akira. Or what? I'm calling the teacher. What are you? Her Prince Charming? Don't make me gag. So what if I want to be? Someone sweet and cute as Yua will never go for a villain like you. You know what? Maybe I should tell the teachers. We'll get your parents, and let's see how they'll handle.
No, please don't. It's fine, Haru. Let's just go.
Huh.
Why did I defend Akira, you may be asking? Well, something about his eyes was so pained and hurt when Haru brought up his parents. It's almost as if he's ashamed and lonely. He knew along with everyone else that his parents didn't care about him, and to make things even worse, I couldn't imagine the pain he might feel with parents that don't care about him. It was so lonely. Weirdly, only Akira was allowed to bully me. He would trip me, steal my homework, make crude jokes on me. Yet, if someone else were to do it, he'll send them to the hospital. No, really, it happened one time.
Hey, stupid.
This is Chiaki. He is one of Akira's best friends. Hi.
I heard you got that book from your dead niece. Maybe I should do you a favor of moving on by burning it.
No, please don't. My niece wrote in it. It's a first edition, and it has so much meaning to me.
Oh, I guess the loser can talk.
Please, I'll do anything. It's the last thing I have left.
Anything. Lick my shoes then. You'd better hurry before the book can't be saved.
I stared at his shoes, and I started to lower my head with a shaking, quivering body.
What are you doing? I'm bullying Yua for you. You're welcome. Check it out. I'm making her lick my... Oh.
He didn't get to finish before Akira came running full speed at him. One minute Chiaki was proud, and the next he was on the floor. Since we were in the library, many people started to gasp. People tried to pry Akira off of Chiaki, but it didn't work. He continued to beat Chiaki so hard that he was knocked out.
If anyone touches what's mine, bully, I will end you.
He grabbed the book and roughly throwing it onto my body. But here's the irony. I ended up falling for the bad boy that bullied me all my life on that day. My heart started to race erratically as I stared at him. The wild, angry look in his eyes, the way his lip is split and there's blood covering his fist as the teachers then had to tackle him and restrain him until the police arrived. I'm confident that Akira did this because he liked me, but didn't know how to express it. So, I devised the plan. I was going to do a whole makeover for prom. I got rid of my glasses and my skirts in exchange. I decided to wear a skin-tight black dress. Honestly, I was surprised by the transformation too. Before I could chicken out, I made my way to Webster Hall, where our high school prom was. Then Haru ran up with a goofy smile. Hey, Haru!
Can I have this dance?
Yes. An hour later was when Haru finally let me go. I went outside to the yard. It's relatively quiet. I didn't realize someone was behind me until someone tugged hard onto my hair. Oh. Huh? Akira?
Does this remind you of the scene from Hercules?
Yes. How did you know?
I saw all those stupid girly Disney films. So, are you and Prince Charming a thing?
Huh? Prince Charming?
Who? Haru. God, you're so stupid.
Oh. No. I'm not into Prince Charming.
Then who?
A villain. Then he smashed his lips onto mine. I was so stunned, my stomach exploded with butterflies. I never felt so happy before.
Do you know why I get into fights?
You don't have to tell me.
I know, but I want to.
Okay.
I get in fights to get my parents' attention. Do you know why I bully you?
Because you want to get my attention?
Would you like to go out with me?
Yes. We watched a romantic movie and had a casual at a fancy restaurant.
You look so pretty.
Thanks. I like you. Many people were shocked that we were dating. In fact, many people thought it was part of a prank.
Huh? You don't need to be scared anymore. You can go to the police and report him.
I am with Akira because I want to be.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Huh? Why is he all mad? Akira changed after that and he didn't get fight anymore. We started to study hard together and got into university. I became more attracted to him during the time I spent. We got married after graduation. We were blessed with a child a little later. We lived happily ever after.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? My name is Professor Grayson. Well, okay, it's actually Penelope Grayson, but everyone in my college has called me Professor Grayson for so long that I sometimes even forget that I have a first name. As you couldn't tell already, I'm a teacher located in Georgia. I've been teaching at my college for over 5 years now, and I'm pretty proud that I'm only 30 and already have so many appraisals from my coworkers and boss for my integrity and hard work. And yet, it only takes one person to make me wonder entirely if I should give it all up for love. If you haven't done so yet, please be sure to leave a like on this video and click the subscribe button. Thank you again, and let's get back to it. So I've always been the goody two-shoes growing up. Actually, even now, I always stayed in line. Staying in line means predictable, safe, and comfortable. Those who stray usually mean risking it all. And it's not something I like to do. That meant I'm traditionally not considered to be fun. I enjoy doing things like reading puzzles and taking pictures. Even though everyone I've tried to date says I'm beautiful, sexy, and hot, they hated how boring I am. It used to hurt, but now it doesn't because I've given it all up. I decided to just focus on my job full-time because love was just too difficult. It would only hurt me more. I became somewhat withdrawn from the world because of getting hurt again. Yet in my classroom, my students loved me. After all, I'm usually an easy grader and fun to talk to since I'm rather passionate about literature teaching. Literature has been with me through everything. Whenever I'm sad or lonely, I can place myself in the characters' shoes and live through them. I've lived 1,000 lives through these characters, fallen in love many times, and went on so many adventures as well. I convinced myself it's better this way, and for 5 years, I built my way up top. That's when Harrison Trayton walked into my classroom and everything changed. He's the typical popular jock of the university. He's the quarterback for the football team, and although he always is cracking jokes and acting rather arrogant, he was a kid that seemed to be a bit lost in life. He did drugs, skipped classes, and started to just stop caring in life. It's like something changed halfway through the semester and I wasn't fond of it. His grade was slipping and I didn't want to see him throw away his future. So one day I decided to talk to him after class because I was concerned for him. After all, a professor should always be caring and concerned for their student, even if they're arrogant and got on your nerves. Mr. Trayton, please stay after class. I would like to discuss something with you. You sure you're not going to just try to get me to sign up for some extra lessons at your house? He joked, making everyone laugh on the way out. I rolled my eyes at his comment, waiting until the classroom cleared until there was only the two of us. Then I walked over to him and sat on the table in front of him. Harrison, are you okay? The question seemed to take him by surprise because he stilled, probably not expecting anyone to ask him that question. I watched for any signs that he might be in trouble before he leaned back and shrugged. I'm getting by, he mumbled. Are you sure? I asked for clarification, not believing him even for a minute. At that, he scoffed loudly and rolled his eyes. Why? Is this the part where you lecture me that I should be happier or do better in your class? You're paid to be here talking to me, aren't you? What? What does that mean? I asked, furrowing my eyebrows in confusion. What does he have anything to do with it? He stared at me warily for a moment and then tilted his head to the side. My father didn't put you up to this? Put you up for what? Nothing, he shook his head. And there's some sort of awe that passed in his eyes. You're asking because why? Because I care, I chuckled when he narrowed his eyes suspiciously. What, I can't care about one of my students that was doing so good at the beginning of the semester and is now slacking off? It's just, I don't know, he finally said, his eyes transfixed onto the desk. My dog died recently. He's been with me since I was 8. Oh, my condolences, I apologized. He quieted for a moment before speaking again. You don't think it's stupid I'm affected by his death? Why would I think it's stupid to mourn over a family member? I questioned. Family, yeah, he's family, he said as if trying to see it in a different light. He drummed his fingers against the desk and swallowed. My father laughed when I told him how affected I was. He made some crude joke about how I was in love with my dog or something like that, but he was my best friend. Your dad's an idiot that doesn't know what he's talking about, I said angrily before I could stop myself. He's also a billionaire. Having money doesn't mean anything. He's still rude and incompetent father who his son needed for comfort during this time. I seethed before gasping when I realized I was talking rudely to his father. My eyes widened as I placed my hand over my mouth. No offense. At that, he threw his head back and laughed. It was the first time I saw him laugh that wasn't forced or fake. His eyes seemed to shine as if he made a conclusion about something and gave me a huge smile. You know what, Penelope? You mean Professor Grayson, I corrected. Penelope, he repeated and leaned forward, slowly gripping my jawline. You're single, right? I nodded, a bit weirded out about his question, but decided to answer anyways. Yes, I replied, and then I gasped. Oh my goodness, are you trying to hook me up with your father? No, you're way too young for him, but not old enough for me, he murmured, and amusement flashed in his eyes. Why aren't you taken or married? Because I'm boring, I dryly tell him before I can stop myself. Who the heck said that? He said rather angrily, his whole body turned rigid. Is it someone from campus? At that, I was the one laughing and shook my head. You wouldn't get it. You're only, 20? Only 10 years younger than you, which isn't much, he snorted. Tell me. Guys usually want to date girls who's funny, outgoing, and adventurous. Whenever I tell them my ideal perfect date is eating Chinese food while being cuddled at home and watching a romance movie or reading a book together, turns them off pretty fast, I tell him. Not sure why I'm even telling him all these things. The last guy I dated told me I was so boring he'd rather talk to a wall. I guess I never tried dating again after what he said. You still have his address? He asked me randomly. I blinked a few times and then frowned. For what? so I can beat him, he said, deadpanned. I do have it, but I'm not giving it to you. I laughed, shaking my hand. For some reason, there's something about Harrison that made me want to tell him everything and anything. Perhaps it was because of the intimacy of the moment. He watched me laugh in awe before he blurted out, "Let me take you out on a date." See, depending on the college, you can either be suspended or just frowned upon for dating a student. My college takes it up a notch by reporting it to the police and making sure it stays on your record. I chuckled, shaking my head. No, you know that's not allowed. I'm way too old for you as well. What if I do good from now on? I cocked my head at his question as he got closer to my face, our lips mere inches apart as I realized just how hypnotizing his eyes were. What do you mean? If I pick up my grades and strive to get all A's in my classes, while never skipping, and also get our college football team to the semifinals, will you go on one date with me? It was practically impossible to do both, so I sighed, agreeing to keep him entertained on the idea. I've been teaching for almost 5 years now, and there's no way for someone who's on the football team to get all A's while practicing sports. I've seen some with A's and maybe 1 or 2 B's. But at the end of the semester, he came to my office with a bouquet of roses and his transcript with all A's on them. I was so shocked, but was also so happy for him as well. Sure enough, I agreed to a date, but we both decided to go to another town instead due to the fear of getting caught. It's only one date anyways. Like I had told myself before, once he realized just how boring I am, he'll stop with the silly pursuit of me. So I was relatively surprised when he said he wanted to hold the date at my place instead of in another town. As he said, it's not like anyone will know as well since we're not going out. Entertaining his idea, I agreed and told him where I lived. For some reason, I was somewhat nervous about our date. After all, it's been years since I went on a date of any sort after being scarred. Yet the whole night felt perfect. It was so weird. I guess in my head I thought there would be no way a jock like him would go for someone boring like me. But we actually got along really well. We had many shows we liked, enjoyed the same food, and so much more. Yet, I knew this couldn't continue because he's going to be my student for another class in 2 weeks. Though right before classes begin, he invited me over to one of his games. Some of my coworkers were surprised to see me because I don't really watch sports, yet they didn't know that I'm going because of Harrison. Not only that, I noticed that some male coworkers looked at me differently because of the way I dressed as well, but it didn't matter. Because I realized that I'm hopelessly in love with my student. Now this is where I would need your help because I can't tell anyone else. What should I do? I've never fallen for someone this quick and hard before. I know it's rather taboo and wrong, but I can't help it. He seemed to understand me in a way that no one else can. I'm sure that he feels the same as well. Hi, my name is Stacy, and I am 24 years old. It was my birthday, and I always celebrated my birthday with my friends and family. This time we were all going out together. I got ready and took my time to look like a princess. I had no idea that my birthday was going to change my life forever. I was just thinking of it as a normal birthday party, but it turned out differently. After getting ready, me and my family went to pick up my best friend Linda and Emma. They were my high school friends and very sweet to me. We always had fun together, and my birthday without them was not complete. After picking them up, we went to a fancy restaurant to have lunch and my party. My dad had already made a booking for us. We reached and we started celebrating my birthday first. The lunch was getting ready. My friends rubbed cake on my face and all over my hair, and I had to clean the mess now. I went to the restroom to take off the cake from my face, and while I was washing my face, a handsome guy came in. "Oh, sorry, I thought that it was empty," the guy said. "It's okay, come on in," I replied. I was having butterflies in my belly. He was so handsome and looking that I could not say anything to him. "It seems like your birthday is today," the boy said to me. "Yes, my friends made this mess out of me," I replied with my shattering voice. I had lost my confidence in front of him. "It's my birthday too," the boy replied. "Oh, really? Or are you just flirting with me?" I replied. What did I say? How foolish of me. Even if he was trying, now he would not. "No, it is really my birthday," he replied. We had a little chat about our lives, and then we exchanged numbers. He really sounded like he was into me. I thought he was my soulmate, and I was going to marry him no matter what. I came back to my family and had lunch. He was sitting a few tables away from me and looking at me again and again, making me nervous. After that day, we chatted day and night for long hours. We would call each other and talk for hours. This was going really great. He said he loved me, and I accepted his proposal and said I love him too. From that day, the relation was not normal anymore. He would get flowers for me and do nice things for me. Everything was going very smooth. One day I saw him talking to another girl. It made me feel really bad, and I asked him to get engaged. He said no, but I insisted and fought for many days, and finally he will not go against the will of his parents. I really loved him, and I was willing to do anything to get him. One day I missed my periods. Yes, you are guessing right. He was the father of my child, and I had to tell him about it. I was afraid that he might leave me for this, and his parents might reject me for having a baby like this. But things went well. I called him to talk about the baby. He came to meet me at the hospital where I was taking the pregnancy test. He did not know about it, and when he saw me in the hospital, he was worried for me. He had no idea that he was about to hear this shocking news. "You're about to become a father. I am pregnant with your child," I said. "What are you saying? How could that be possible?" he said. "What are you saying?" "It is your child and you have to marry me as soon as possible," I replied. "Are you sure you are pregnant?" he said in shock. I showed him the report from the doctor, and after some time he realized that it was his fault and that he did this to me, and now he must get married to me. "I will take you to my parents today, and we must decide what would happen next," he said. "I am ready," I replied. But inside I knew that I was not ready. What if his parents said no? What if they rejected me and my baby? Where would I go with it, and who would give me a name to my child? "We would not tell them about this baby," he said. "As you say," I replied, and I went to his home with him to meet his parents. His parents were very nice to me, and they liked me a lot. They did not raise a single question against our relationship, and it was a big relief for me. Now it was time to take my boyfriend to my parents' house and take their approval as well. After having lunch with his family, this went very well. It was unexpected and they would treat me this well, I said. "My parents are nice. I hope yours are the same," he replied. "I will make arrangements tomorrow and you should come to meet them," I said. "Sure," he replied, and he dropped me home. I was very nervous about the baby I had in my belly. I did not know how to take care of it and what to eat and what I should not. I kept searching for it over the internet and I read many articles. I was afraid that someone might notice my behavioral change and ask me about it. My mother is very sharp and she might notice this difference in my body very soon. The next day I told my parents that someone's coming to meet them and I want to marry him. My father raised questions first about his family and background. I assured them that he is rich and well-educated and they will surely like him. My boyfriend came in at noon and I had already made the arrangements. I was sure that my family would like him. He had a very good personality. My parents asked different questions from him, more than his parents asked from me, but he was mentally prepared for this interaction. After meeting him and asking all the questions, my parents asked him to bring his parents for further talks about marriage. We both were very happy and this went very well and we would be getting married. I was happy for my child that now he would not have to struggle to get an identity. He will bear the name of his real father. I fell deeply in love with him after all this. He really took a stand for me and did not leave me in a tough time. He was a real man. After a few days, we made arrangements to make our families meet each other and discuss the terms of our marriage. The day was perfect, and I thought it would go as smooth as the previous meetings. But this time, it was not so. When their parents came home, my mother was shocked at seeing them. "Melissa? You?" my mother said. "I never thought I would find you again," his mother replied. "Oh, what a great time that was when we were young," my mother said. "I thought that they knew each other so well already. This is perfect. Now there would be no issue in our marriage." Until my mother told us the real story. "Melissa and me, we were best friends. I married your father and she married a rich guy. Your father had a loss in business when we were born. I had twin children. Melissa was not able to get pregnant, so I sold your mother to them for money, and we established our business from that. You must be thinking of us as selfish, but that time was very harsh and we had no one to help. I helped my friend and she helped us. You both are brother and sister," my mother said. The earth was shattering, or I was shivering after hearing this. I was pregnant with my brother's child? And I can't even tell them? What am I going to do with this child? My parents would not allow this marriage after all. We are brother and sister. All the butterflies in my belly that I had after knowing that our parents knew each other died instantly, and now I was worried again about my child. My boyfriend, who turned out to be my brother, was looking at me with eyes with a lot of questions that I had no answers to. What am I going to do now? How would I handle this pregnancy? When we got in front of my house, I swallowed and turned to him. How long have you been in love with me? He paused at my question and then rubbed the back of his neck. A blush started to appear on his face and he chuckled. Since I was 10, but I never got the courage. When I heard you and William broke up, I wanted to give you a few weeks before confessing. Little did he know that I'm in love with his dad. And I also slept with him the same night me and William broke up. Can I give you my answer in a few days? I'm not feeling well, I said, my voice shaking. But it was further from the truth. I never viewed Jason, my best friend, anything more than a friend. To hear he had a crush on me since we were both 10 was shocking. He nodded, smiling, and kissed my cheeks. Of course, Alexa, take your time. Let me know when you feel better, okay? Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa. I'm a senior in university currently, and if I'm being honest with you, I'm having a really big problem. If you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to like and hit that subscribe button. That'll really help grow this channel so people like us can continue to share our stories with you guys. So me and Jason have been friends for as long as I remembered. In fact, we have been attached at the hip since kindergarten. Jason was like a brother to me. He was funny, kind, sweet, and always knew how to make me laugh without trying. We had weekly sleepovers, dinner at one another's house, and you'll always see us around the city together. There was nothing stronger than our bond. In fact, we shared everything together. But there's a huge secret I've been hiding from him. I'm in love with his dad. Let me start off by saying before you judge, please hear me out. Jason's mom and his dad's wife ditched them when Jason was in first grade. His dad had to raise him by himself. My mom and dad often brought meal kits over to their places since we lived just across the street from one another. In the beginning, I was terrified of his dad. He often didn't speak. In fact, he chose to only nod or shake his head in response to questions. Yet, when he talked to me, it was as if he was a different person. He treated me differently from how he regarded everyone else. What really made me fall in love with him was when me and Jason were in his yard playing on the swings when we were 14. I was swinging carelessly when I noticed a bee. His dad gardened and loved to plant roses. I loved seeing this side of him. Yet he has never given anyone his roses. But that was besides the point. I am terrified of bugs of any sort, and I jumped off the swings midair and fell hard onto the ground. I remembered crying and my knees bleeding badly. Jason had left to use the bathroom in the house, so imagine my surprise when someone princess carried me. I stopped crying momentarily to realize it was Jason's dad. His face was filled with worry and concern as he stared at my scraped knees. It's okay, he said soothingly. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. It was like nothing else in the world mattered but me and him. He gently scooped me up in his arms and led me into the house, where he cleaned and then band-aided my knees. And then he gave me a singular red rose. Afterwards, he never tried to interact with me ever again. He never tried anything and would make an effort to be in a different room whenever I came over, which was often. It really made me miserable when I couldn't see him, but there was nothing I could do. All I knew was that despite him being 15 years older than me, I was in love with him. The boys I knew in school seemed to be immature compared to him. Even in my local college where I attended classes, I wasn't interested in anybody. I must admit I had a lot of boys that tried chasing me, but that was all they were, boys. I wanted a man. I guess in my heart no one was able to beat Jason's dad. I guess that's why in freshman year I decided to give it a try with a senior. He was older than me by 3 years and treated me well. If I have to admit it, I guess part of me wanted to make my best friend's dad jealous. Since Jason and I were close, he also got to know my boyfriend William. Turns out, William only wanted to go out with me to get me to sleep with him. When I turned him out one night, he finally exploded on me. I've never seen William so mad in the 2 years that I knew him. He said I wasn't even that beautiful, and that I was only interested in teasing him. He dumped me right there and then. I was bawling my eyes out. I knew I couldn't go home because my parents were going to bombard me with questions. Jason was part of the college's soccer team as well. It was already 5, so he should be getting home soon. I needed my best friend, so I took the bus to his house. On the way there, I had texted Jason to make sure he was going to be home today, but I guess he must be in the shower or taking a nap after practice. Knocking on Jason's house, I expected him to greet me at the door. What I didn't expect was his dad. I swallowed, looking at the floor and letting my hair fall a bit over my face to cover my eyes. I fought the rising tension building as neither one of us said anything. It seemed that it was only when I was crying that he took notice of me. I wasn't sure if that was depressing or laughable. "Oh, hello, Mr. Page." I gave him my best facade smile in hopes I looked well composed enough. I tilted my head to the side, peeking in instead of his handsome face. "I'm sorry, is Jason home?" "He's eating with his friends today," he said, his voice gruff and dangerously low. "Actually, I think he might not be home tonight." "Right. I see. Then never mind then." I chuckled dryly. The last thing I needed was the man I had been in love with to see me crying. "What happened?" he growled out. Concern and worry were etched on his perfect, handsome face that I almost felt as if I was drowning. In a split second, all I could think of was him. I swallowed, licking my lips slowly. His eyes followed like a predator before I ducked my head. "It's nothing." I tried to lie, but it was no use. The hold he had on me tightened. "Alexa," he grumbled out, and a shiver went down my spine. "Don't lie to me." "My boyfriend." I swallowed the lump in my throat. I felt like I was a child being scolded. Except with my crush, who was not only my best friend's dad, but so much older than me. Yet my heart seemed to want him more than ever. I dared to believe that he was jealous with the way his grip tightened till it burned at the mention of my boyfriend before I corrected myself. "Well, ex-boyfriend now. He broke up with me just an hour ago." "You have a boyfriend?" he said. Irritation and annoyance danced in his tone. "Had," I corrected, his grip loosening. The whiff of spaghetti caught my attention, and I stared into his house. I haven't eaten all day thanks to my crying, and I was starving now. I peered up at Mr. Page. "Sorry, were you having dinner?" "I thought Jason would be home by now before he changed his mind," he grumbled. "Would you like to join me?" "Only if I can have a drink," I laughed, though I was already making my way in. I've practically memorized everything from Always Coming, yet this was the first time I've been alone with him, and I was nervous. "You're not even 21, he denounced, his eyebrows knitted together. I huffed, rolling my eyes. If he knew that Jason drank all the time when we went to parties, then he'll be saying something completely different. I took a seat across from him and took a sip of my wine. "My birthday is in 2 hours." "I know." My heart skipped a beat. He sounded so tormented that he knew, like it was wrong. Yet it was the most romantic thing. I never told him about my birthday, and Jason must have at one point. But for him to remember it? It had to mean something, right? We ended up enjoying dinner together. He was a talented cook, which shocked me. My parents and I thought for years he couldn't cook, which was why we offered them meal kits. He grinned and winked when I called him out, and by the end of the night, I completely forgot about my no-good ex-boyfriend. Especially after one too many drinks that I decided I was going to get my birthday present from him. I never wanted anything from him. In fact, I never expected anything from my best friend's dad. But for 1 second, I want to forget about everything else. I pushed myself off my feet. His eyes trained on me as I gathered every courage in my body to plant myself into his lap. He tensed. His mouth parted to say something, but I cut him off with my lips. I was kissing my best friend's dad. Let me tell you, that night would be something I would never forget. The next day, I thought we would talk about us, where we would go from there. I thought he felt the same way, especially after last night. Yet he grimly shook his head in disgust as he sighed. "We can't continue. It was a drunk mistake. I'm sorry." My heart was absolutely shattered. This man held a piece of my heart, and he maimed it without even having to do anything. He gave me another red rose before he told me to get out of the house before Jason came home. I ended up more heartbroken than when I broke up with William. See, I thought Mr. Page didn't find me attractive, but it turned out he turned me down because of his son. Jason actually confessed to me a few weeks later while we were sitting on our usual swings. My eyes were only focused on his dad tending to his rose garden when Jason cleared his throat, snapping my attention to him. "I like you, Alexa," he said. Time froze again, but this time, my heart didn't skip a beat. In fact, I was horrified, so much that I felt sick, actually. I've been feeling rather fatigued for days now, yet the urge to puke was stronger than ever because of Jason's confession. My best friend is actually in love with me. Jason never pushed for an answer right away, choosing to walk me home because I needed to lie down. When we got in front of my house, I swallowed and turned to him. "How long have you been in love with me?" He paused at my question and then rubbed the back of his neck. A blush started to appear on his face and he chuckled. Since I was 10, but I never got the courage. When I heard you and William broke up, I wanted to give you a few weeks before confessing. Little did he know that I'm in love with his dad. And I also slept with him the same night me and William broke up. Can I give you my answer in a few days? I'm not feeling well, I said, my voice shaking. But it was further from the truth. I never viewed Jason, my best friend, anything more than a friend. To hear he had a crush on me since we were both 10 was shocking. He nodded, smiling, and kissed my cheeks. Of course, Alexa, take your time. Let me know when you feel better, okay? To my utter horror, I didn't get better in the few days. I was throwing up and was always tired. After my parents went to work, I decided to order a pregnancy test and took it. My heart was racing at that possibility, but it was the only thing left to explain it. Lifting it up, I saw 2 red lines. I'm pregnant, and I'm carrying my best friend's dad's child. What should I do? I don't want to lose my best friend, but I'm also scared of what everyone would say once they found out that I slept with Jason's dad. Hey there, it's Cassie from Georgia. So without further ado, let's start by saying that I love my boyfriend so much. His name is Scott. Actually, we grew up together, and I can still remember when I first fell in love with him. It started when we were both in middle school. I was on the swings, playing with myself as my parents are often busy working as immigrants. That's when 2 older bullies walked up to me, and without even saying a word, they pushed me hard onto the ground. Immediately, I started to bawl and cry my eyes out. Wow, look at that crybaby. This is why no one wants to play with you. You're a big crybaby that even your parents go to work to avoid you. Your parents probably hate you and... Hey! Leave her alone. Oh, that's Scott. Quick, let's get out of here. His mom's a judge and his dad's a police officer. With that, both of them scurry off while I'm left crying so hard that I couldn't even see past the blur in my eyes due to my tears. Finally, all I can see is someone squatting down in front of me, and they brushed my tears away with a cloth. Soon afterward, I swear it's love at first sight. Scott became my best friend and knight in shining armor. In high school, I only fell deeper in love with him. See, my boyfriend of 1 year decided to dump me right before our prom. After all, Scott goes to college on the other side of town. I had called him to tell him how my ex-boyfriend dumped me while crying once more. He had asked if I wanted him to come, but of course I instantly said no and just decided to mope in the front door of my house alone. Scott, what are you doing here? I'm here to ask if a certain someone would allow me to be their date for prom. At that, he handed me a bouquet of beautiful flowers. What about Faline? I thought you agreed to go to prom with her. Faline, for anyone wondering, is his girlfriend for almost 1 year. I'm always going to put you first, Cassie. Now let's go together, princess. I never once felt more like a beautiful woman. Every girl was so jealous of me because of Scott. By the end of the night, Scott ended up kissing me. I tried to stop him since he's dating Faline, but he said they've broken up. It was the most passionate night ever. Soon after, I looked up at him. Hey, Scott, what's up? I love you. Will you go out with me? Yes, I feel the same way too. Just like that, we've been dating for almost 6 years now. Honestly, he's the best boyfriend ever. Ever since he laid eyes on me, he made sure to cater to my needs. So imagine to my surprise when I came home one day to see him on the couch. He looked serious as he stared at the coffee table in front of him as I put down my bag. Hey, honey. Hey, Cassie. Is everything okay? Baby, there's something I want to talk to you about. Yeah, tell me, Scott. You know that you can tell me anything, right? I know. You know I love you, right? Yes. Well, you also know that I've been friends with Faline since high school. So even though we broke up, you said we could remain friends and that if you didn't feel comfortable, I'm more than fine in dropping the friendship. Are you cheating on me? What? No. I love you too much to hurt you. Then do you want to break up with me? No, never. Only death will do us part. Baby, please stop. I hate seeing you cry. They are my kryptonite. Then what is it? I've been thinking. What do you feel about being in an open relationship? What? I want to see if you'll be okay with being in an open relationship. What do you mean by that, though? It means that I don't want to lose you because I love you so much. I want to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you. But I also want to be able to explore other people. I've already talked to Faline, and she's fine with it, as with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is okay with her sleeping with other people? Isn't that cheating? No, that's a common misconception. Cheating would be not telling the other partner and going behind their back. But I'm never going to do that to you. I want to ask your opinion about it and how you would feel about entering one. Just to be clear, you'll sleep with people and you'll let me know what you're going to do with them, and I can do the same? Yes, maybe once in a while we can have a party and, I don't know, have a sex party. I think it'll be a great way to spice up the relationship. Well, not that there's a problem, but I do want to make things more exciting. I see. You hate it. Scott, I don't know what to say. This is wrong. He changed after that day. I was sleeping on his bed all night and he did not touch me. That was until I came home early one day to see my boyfriend cheating on me. How could you? Baby, it's not like that. It is. I stomped off into my car and drove. I had assumed he'd try to chase me, but he didn't.
Huh?